sitting in these seats right now. But I can say that I never had the opportunity to listen to a Darrell Green or Aeneas Williams and to get some guidance and direction for what I didn't have as a young man. See, the reason I say I can see myself out here is because I probably went through my childhood and my teen years with what a lot of you are going through. Maybe not, but I would assume that maybe, probably yes. Growing up in Southern California, the reason I say that is you can look at the gold jacket, you can look at the accomplishments of my NFL career, but I want to share things that are far more important than being a Pro Football Hall of Famer or playing 13 years with the Bengals.
Easy to recognize that symbol. That is the patch that rests on the jacket of an NFL Hall of Famer, and this one belongs to a California native, Mr. Anthony Munoz. Anthony, appreciate you taking a minute to talk to me.
My pleasure.
And now you are here to provide some of your guidance to the youth of the Sacramento area. What are some of the main themes of your message going to be?
Well, you know, the great thing about it is I'm here with two fellow Hall of Famers, Darrell Green and Aeneas Williams, representing the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But, when you have a partner like Centene, we've expanded the team. I mean, and I use it all the time with my foundation and my companies. I always say the bigger the team, the bigger the impact. And that's what I see this being all about. We get a chance to come and talk to these young people, use the platform of, having played in the NFL and, being a Pro Football Hall of Famer. And hopefully some of the things we say will spark them when they're just, deciding and making decisions. And we've all been through decision making, continue to be through making decisions, and hopefully we can address some of the things that we're faced with in our lives, in our journey, that we had to say, okay, yay or nay. Is this going to help us or not help us? So hopefully they listen to those and see that regardless to what your background is, regardless to what you have or didn't have growing up, and regardless to the diverse or adversity you go through, that there's people out there that care about you, and hopefully they get that from us, that we truly care about each and every one of them, and then we want what's best for them. So we'll share some hopefully nuggets that they can use in their life, and character and decision making, and things like that really helped us along the road. I mean, when you get my age, we've had a lot of mentors, a lot of people that have poured into my life, and this is a way to not only share those things that I learned, but honor those people that really poured into my life.
Now, you talked about some of those decisions you had to make.
Yeah.
How are they different from when you were a kid as to the decisions the kids have to make today?
Wow, I think it's a whole lot tougher. I mean, you got social media, you got so many other attractions, distractions, I should say, for the young people, and it's amazing what they're having to deal with. And so hopefully, we can educate ourselves and know enough of what's going on out in the community. And I think with the guys I'm working with and this team that we're working with, we've been out there, so we're able to see what's out there and what they're facing, and speak intellectually about what they're facing and the decisions they have to make. So but I would imagine, my kids, they're already in their 30s, and they were going through some tough time when they were growing up, but a lot tougher now with the young people. So hopefully we can grab them before some of those bad decisions.
I feel like, at times there's was a lot more guns and drugs today than there was when we were young, but there really wasn't. I mean, in terms of the some of the negative influences in their lives, some of those things have remained consistent, wouldn't you say?
They have, and I think it's, we talk about the social media when we were playing, which I've been out 25 years, and we say, we had some knuckleheads when we were playing, but it just didn't get out there as quickly as it does now with all the social media. So I think a lot of what's going on now, it was there, and I grew up in just east of Los Angeles, and the gangs and the drugs, and that was all there, but you didn't hear about it as quickly, and it wasn't covered, I think, as much as it is now with all the publications and all the social media. So there's things there that we're continuing to battle in 20, 30 years ago, and even now.
So what kind of advice do you give them when they have these crossroads that they have to face? I mean, how do you tell them to deflect themselves in a different direction?
Well, one thing I share a lot with young people is, who you surround yourself with. You want, for myself, it would have been easy for me to surround myself with someone that was always patting me on the back, saying, you're great, you're great. But I tell people, I didn't know a whole lot 30 years ago, and I don't know a whole lot more now, but I knew that I needed to surround myself with people that were going to ask me the tough questions, that were really going to hold me accountable. And I think that's a tough thing, and especially for guys, I think it's tough. But that's, those are some of the things that I would share with the young people is, surround yourself with people that are going to hold you accountable, that are going to really, make you think about the decisions you're making. And a lot of times, you get those people that you should be hanging out with that kind of are eliminated because they're making the right decisions, and some of the people go with their supposedly friends and aren't doing the right thing. But I think that's a very important thing with young people is make sure that the people you surround yourself with are looking out, not only out for you, but for themselves, and respect yourself, respect them, and the things around you.
I think the respect is a huge deal. Now, do you think, for like in your case, playing ball, or I have a 17-year-old daughter. She was in the band playing at the ball games. Do you think being involved in something organized like that is a good way to sort of at least keep them occupied or keep them away from the bad stuff?
I do, and it doesn't necessarily have to be sports. I had that my whole childhood. I started playing competitive baseball at 7, 8 years old. That was my lifetime dream. But then, through high school and college, and I had 2 kids. My wife and I had 2 kids, and they were involved in sports. My daughter played basketball. She started when she was 9, 10, played college basketball. She's married, raising kids now. My son played D1 football. So, those are the type of things that, drama or band, or just do something that's going to take a lot of your time. It's going to take your focus to things that you need to work on, you need to practice, you need to spend time doing, and hopefully again that goes to those dream of being the best at whatever you do. And my choice was athletics, but now as an old guy I wish I would have picked up an instrument, maybe played that. But, I would just encourage the young people to pick something up that's going to be time-consuming, where you it's fun. It's work, but it's fun.
Now, I've got to ask you while I have you, what's it like playing in the NFL compared to even playing college ball or when you're growing up?
Well, each step you take is just that much better. High school I played, at big school, played some, pretty good high schools. Then I go to college at USC, and we're playing the UCLAs, the Notre Dames, the Rose Bowls, playing through Rose Bowl, and that's pretty competitive. Then all of a sudden you step foot on an NFL practice field, and you're going like, oh my goodness, these are the best of the best. And all of a sudden you make a football team, make the Bengals, and you're playing 16 games, and every guy you're playing against. At USC, there's usually about a handful of guys that were really, really good, and the other guys were pretty good. In the NFL, it's like all 16 every week. You got to be on top of your game, and the speed, the knowledge. As a 21, 22-year-old in the NFL, you might be playing against a guy that's 29, 30. So not only does he have that physical maturity, but he's been around, knows all the tricks of the trade. So it's really and I laugh when people say, well, if you take the #1 ranked football team in college and play them against an NFL team that's has the worst record in the league, I said it wouldn't even be it wouldn't be competitive. That's how good even the teams that aren't winning, because there's such a fine line of being 6-2 or 3 and 3-5 or whatever. It's a fine line between those teams. So I laugh when they say that. Take the #1 college team and play the worst NFL team. It's still not going to be very competitive.
Yeah, that's going to change the way I look at Sundays. NFL Hall of Famer Anthony Munoz, thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Just had an encounter with a couple of young kids that even begins the process even before we started. But that's why we're here. I pray for these kids. I don't know them. They're in all states, all over the country, the cities, and this is what I live for, to bring a value to them, to help them establish a foundation so that they can manage through life when things are flying at them. Hey man, hit this joint. Hey, let's skip school. Let's go steal this. Let's do this. They can have something that it's like I had in football. I had some go-to things I could do that I could say, okay, Michael Irvin's is big, but hey, I got my go-to. I'm gonna go with my go-to. And I had speed, I had quickness, I had mental toughness, I had knowledge. And I want these kids to establish through our youth strong community their own. We don't necessarily try to give it to you, but I want you to find and discover your own constitution.
And what are some tips for kids that maybe don't have sports as an outlet to kind of keep themselves out of trouble or just occupied and have a goal? What are some tips for young kids that you have?
Well, and that's an interesting thought because we are Centene as our main leader and sponsor, involved People Care, and we're a number of different companies, but we're Pro Football Hall of Fame as well. But we're not football. We're not sports. We are really about the human. We're about the human side of the person, of the child, of the young person, of the youth. And so this whole idea of having value-based concepts to live by really covers all aspects. If you're a football player and you're in the locker room and there's wrong thinking and wrong discussions going on, you can manage it. If you're walking down the hallway or down the street, you can have these fundamental values that you can live by. But we try to help them find and discover those through, as we know very well, most people hold on to what the information they gain if they come to it through what is called a self-discovery. So we try to help them do that. We also know that most people, we see in pictures. I'm saying words, but you see in pictures. And so we really try to give them some examples, we really want them to kind of, I want to just to not make a long story longer. This commercial that talks about the kid who's daydreaming and then he sees the pro athlete and he plays basketball, high school, and all the way, and finally he's dunking in the NBA. I think that's very creative. I just wish it was creative to show a child thinking about being a scientist, being a doctor, being a teacher, being a lawyer, being a principal, being something beyond just dribbling a basketball or running and catching the ball. And so we're disguised as Pro Football Hall of Famers to try and reach these young people to talk about being men and women, solid, valuable humans to society.
And how important is it to be real about the problems that they're facing? I mean, you mentioned smoking a joint, stealing things. These are things that these kids deal with at a very young age. How important is it to just kind of have that adult conversation with them?
Well, you're good. We're absolutely real. I think it's super important for us to show vulnerability, to be transparent, to be, as you said, to be real, and to share our experiences, to share our values, and to show how we've overcome. And so, no, we'd be wasting our time because, trust me, these kids are smart. We just want to make sure that those smarts are going in being used for the right purposes. But no, you make a good point that yes, we have to be vulnerable. We have to be open to help them benefit for their lives.
Daryl, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out there, but I think back to when I was playing ball, like in high school, and what we thought was a little harmless hazing, like a rite of passage, is now considered bullying. How do you tell these kids things that we did when we were young, we thought was okay, isn't okay?
Well, I tell them about my being bullied, that I was bullied for the most weird, it's the weirdest thing. I was bullied because I was little. Why are you mad at me because I'm little? And so, get away from here. You can't play, you too little. I mean, and you push me. And so, I talk about the fact that bullies or the bullyee or the bullier, however you say it, can both overcome those things if they are able to have some fundamental ways about how they think about life. It would be as simple as saying the old golden rule. How would you like to be treated? You know what I mean? You would like to be treated, then you probably could treat somebody else the way you would like to be treated. And a lot of times bullies are dealing with a lot of other issues. And so I think with what we do, we kind of bring the light, enlighten kids across all the spectrums. My best buddy committed suicide. I talk about that. And it's not only the guy who committed suicide, but it's his best buddy. It's his siblings. How do they respond to it? And we have those conversations in some of our breakout sessions. We talk about loneliness. We talk about fear, insecurities. It's a lot of things that are happening out here that we think that we've been pretty successful. We're not the best in the world, but I think we do pretty well in creating a dialogue, creating a safe environment to have these exchanges. And we've been seeing success across the country.
Now, it's no secret you're widely considered the greatest at your position of all time. You kind of feel like you showed them?
No, I didn't play football to try to show them. I played football, and it's an interesting story too. I started football in 11th grade on JV. I made the varsity. I walked on at an NAIA school. I dropped out in one semester. I went home, drove a furniture truck, went to night school, and a year and a half later, I went back to the same school. I was a first-round draft pick. In the meantime, in the time when I was in school, I actually became a Christian and learned about what really life was really all about. Oh, and by the way, I played football. But as you'll hear me say here today, when I was 10 years old, I knew exactly what I wanted to be in life. I didn't say what I wanted to do. I said I knew what I wanted to be. And this was because my mom, they got divorced at that time, and they picked us up from school. And in that moment, I said, you know what? I'm going to be the greatest husband and greatest dad the world have ever seen when my time comes. And so I took off from there in life to do, knowing that I would have to do something that would support my being. So if I'm going to have a wife, I'm going to have to do something to provide for her and our children. So I could have painted houses, drove a truck, taught school. I probably would have been with a gold jacket in those arenas, because it wasn't what I was doing. It was motivated by who I wanted to be. So I had to go work hard. I had to show up every day. So no, I don't feel like I showed anybody. I hope that I pleased God in my effort to be the best dad and husband I could be. Oh, and by the way, I was good at the job that I was given, and I did it well.